and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Ben Ziglar, I'm 52 years old. I've had quite a diverse background. One of the things I love about the Bay Area is the diversity of cultures. And living in Richmond and seeing what goes on here has convinced me that the statement, all people are created equal, is not true. Certainly all people are not treated equally, especially the children. Look at a library in Orinda. Look at a library in Mill Valley. Look at a shopping center in Richmond. Drive down McDonald Avenue. Drive down parts of Oakland. Start going up in the Oakland Hills. Who are the victims? The victims are the children. They're the innocents. They don't choose their parents. They're born to their parents. The society needs to take more action to help the children. They are the innocent victims. And they end up in places like San Quentin because the media, lack of parenting, lack of social responsibility. The media tells these kids, so many of these kids, they send a false message. They send a false message that takes these kids away from education, away from vocational skills, that teaches them that being a thug, a gangster, is hip, is a way to get where you're going to get. Well, I've been where they're going to get. I helped build Pelican Bay State Prison. I was in the shoe for 6 months. I worked on the concrete. I worked in those cells. It's one of the most ungodly, repressive places you can be. Thank God I had my wife and my child to come home to. I wish people would start thinking about the children and condemn these people who send out this false message. The media is behind this. Not only the media, I should say big money's behind this. People want to make the money off the people who are innocent, the people who don't know any better. And the cost to society. What does it cost society to put someone in prison? What's the cost on social services?
Got a good 50 grand a year.
I see places like Richmond as a breeding ground. They're a breeding ground for potential thugs. Of course, not everybody, but there is no equity. Drive around, take a look at the people. They're wonderful people. Richmond was voted the most livable city in the country in 1955. There was a lot of industry here. There was the Ford Motor Company. There were the shipyards. There was a lot going on. Take a look at the old timers. Listen to them. But when industry leaves, when jobs are not provided, when drugs infiltrate a community, when there is a lack of responsibility. But the thing that really troubles me is the false message that's sent through the media and fragmentation of families. Children are beautiful. They do not see color. They're innocent. And the thing that I would always think about when I'd go home, how does a beautiful, innocent child, how does a beautiful child end up in a cell like this? How does a child end up in a cell like this? A beautiful child. What molded this individual to become what they are?
We've been interviewing a lot. We've been doing a couple different documentaries on Richmond and just the Bay Area and California in general. But we noticed that there are so many young people on drugs. I mean, 22-year-old girls look like they're 40. I've met girls who openly express that they slept with well over 50 men easily, and they're only 21, 23 years old, and they're hooked on meth, they're hooked on crack, and they're hooked on heroin. And I'm just curious, what is your take? Because you live in Richmond still, or you still mingle a lot in Richmond areas. What is your take on all these young kids on crack and mainly methamphetamine? What do you think that?
I think that places like Richmond can be very repressive. Take a look at Richmond High School. There's a lot of great things that have been done at Richmond High School, but we'll just look at it from the exterior.
Yeah, it's
compare that with say Alhambra High and Martinez for existence. They're both in the same county.
Wow, that's
Martinez is the county seat. Why do people driving down McDonald Avenue? It has gotten better, but why do people have to drive around people dealing drugs in the streets? Why is hearing gunshots not a normal thing? Why is crime so prevalent? Why is violence so prevalent? Things go on. People know about what's going on. I'm sympathetic for any police officer out there trying to do his job. Why is there such a shortage of funds when there's so much industry and resources in Richmond? You have General Chemical, you have Chevron, you have numerous other large industries in Richmond. There's a port in Richmond. There's lots of.
There's a lot of Richmond.
There's a lot of. But why is there such a disparity? Why is there such a disparity? Where's the tax money going? Or do we only do for certain people? Here, look at this library behind us. This library's closed. This is in Point Richmond, and yet this library's closed. What is going on? Where does the money go? I really don't know.
It's greed. The money's going in some rich man's bank account so he can keep taking these exclusive Caribbean cruises and buy these $50,000 hardwood floors for his new guest house in the middle of who knows where. I mean, the money is going to everything but where it should go, and these people's greed, they're going to go to hell for this. They're going to pay a price for this. Oh, you're so drastic, you're going to say you're going to go to hell. But man, if you think about it, your greed in taking the tax money, not contributing the money properly to where it needs to go, it's costing people lives. It's costing them their lives. They're dying. These kids are dying.
Why is killing and violence accepted within the community? Why does it go on? Why is the rate so much higher in Richmond, in Oakland? Why is it so much higher within the black community? Why is the percentage of blacks who are incarcerated so much higher? Why are Latino and black groups and white groups? I saw recently a documentary on a show on Pelican Bay State Prison, and it is an incredibly segregated place, and these individual prisoners are saying, I'm really not racist, but I have to belong to a white gang just to survive. I have to belong to a black gang just to survive, you know. But why are the prisoners dictating what goes on in the prison? Why are they allowed to flourish as gangs? Why isn't this broken up? What happens when these people get out of prison? What kind of skills do they have? You know, I don't see this as being rehabilitation in any way. You know, why does it come down to you have to hate. That's what it's all about. Hate to survive. There's really something wrong with that.
There is something wrong. And there's something drastically wrong when you got 14-year-old girls out there selling their bodies so that they can get some crack, and then you got parents that are living for, you have the elderly who are living for nothing anymore. If you're going to live for nothing and watch this stuff go on, you might as well die for a cause. Start causing some ruckus with the drug dealers in your neighborhood. Start raising some hell. If you're 65 years old, you're retired, and you're going home every day, and you're walking right past the crack dealer, you're walking right past all these injustices, get shot for something. You know, fight for something instead of you getting mugged because you're walking home and you're just acting like you don't see it. And meanwhile, these kids are dying and going to hell, and they're not seeing any parents or good men like this man right here standing out. If you're going to die for something, die for something. I mean, don't be 60, 50, 70 years old and you're just sitting there letting this stuff go on. Have some purpose and meaning to your life. At least let them say, you know, Leroy Johnson, he was an older retired teacher. He lived in a bad neighborhood, but at least he got shot because he wouldn't let them drug dealers come into his neighborhood anymore. Or at least he got put in prison because he put his foot down.
But you see, it shouldn't be, that person shouldn't risk his life. It shouldn't be up to him. It should be up to the police. It should be up to those in power to initiate change. An individual citizen shouldn't have to risk his life. That's why we have police officers. What it indicates is someone is not doing the job.
Right.
Someone is not doing what they're paid to do. So why is that? I mean, nobody should have to put their life or their family at risk. This is 2007. You know, why is this still going on? Think about Marvin Gaye. What was Marvin Gaye singing about? You know, Marvin Gaye, songs, you listen to Curtis Mayfield, Marvin Gaye. Look at the 60s. Look at James Brown. There's a whole initiative for change, and there has been a lot of change. There's so much more opportunities now than existed 40 years ago. The